Hi, I'm Callum, and this is the July mobility session. So we're back with another mobility flow session. So we're going to be looking to increase mobility of the spine, the hips mainly. We're also going to be targeting some of those lesser stretched areas such as the wrist and the ankles. It could be a nice flowing session, so this is a great session for you to use as part of a cool down or on those days off where you're not doing any other sessions and you're just looking to try and get a quick full body 10 to 15 minute mobility session in. Other than that, we're going to be starting down on the floor on our knees, ready to work into the first exercise in today's session. So the first movement we're going to start off with is going to be a long child's pose stretch. So we're going to start with the knees just slightly wider than hip width apart. We're going to drop the bum back to the heels, and from here what we're going to do is reach the arms as far as we can, keeping the bum right back. So the bum is trying to be on the heels. By trying to get those arms as far forward as we can. Really lengthen out through the spine. And we're going to just hold here for 5 deep breaths. Breathing into the tension and breathe out. Just feel the body relax. 2 to go. Just try and get those hands a little bit further each breath out. Just deep breath in and breathing out. What we're going to do from here is take the hands over to the left hand side. So the left hand reaches over, the right hand reaches over the top of that left hand, grasping onto the outside of the wrist, sinking the hips back again, and now we're feeling that stretch through the right hand side, so we're stretching the lat muscle here. Again, holding for 5 deep breaths. This time the hands aren't reaching that much further forwards. Take a deep breath in. And then with the breath out, just try and sink the hips back a little bit further without allowing the hands to slide closer towards you. 2 deep breaths to go. And last one. We're going to bring the hands back into the middle again, just stretch out. Walk the hands across to the right hand side. So the right hand goes across, the left hand comes over the top. Grasps over the top of the hand, so we're now grasping into the outside of the wrist, reaching the hips, pushing the hips back, feeling that stretch now through the left hand side, so from the bottom of the armpit all the way to the top of the pelvis, really feeling that stretch through the ribs. 5 deep breaths. Breathe in, feeling the ribs expand, and breathe out, the hips just sink back a little bit further with each breath out. And last one. Release, hands back into the middle. We're going to stretch again, reach the arms, and then bring yourself up onto the knees. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. From here, take a deep breath in. And with the breath out, push the hands into the floor, the chin tucks in, pelvis tucks back, fully rounding the spine. Breathe in, and we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades out the back, arch the lower back, bring that chest that's facing forwards. Breathe out, hands push in, pelvis tucks back, chin tucks in, and breathe in, arch. Breathing in, breathing out. And breathing in. In this position here, we're trying to fully round the spine. And then in this opposite position, we're trying to arch. This is the cat-cow. Last 2. And last one. So from here, what we're going to do is keep the hands in that same position. We're going to bring one leg forwards. So that foot is now in line with both hands. The knee is where it started on that back leg. We're going to try and bring the chest up a little bit. So here we're trying to maintain a nice neutral spine, so not rounded or arched. Take a deep breath in. With the breath in, we're going to shift the hips forwards So we're trying to keep everything in line. The knee isn't trying to go out to the side, we're keeping it tucked into this arm. We're just shifting the hips, breathe in, feeling that stretch. Maybe a little bit round into the glute, maybe a bit into the opposite hip flexor. And then with the breath out, we're going to push with the foot and the hand, push the bum back, and now we're feeling that stretch into the hamstring. So breathe in as we go forwards, keeping nice and tall through the spine, no rounding or arching. Breathing out, pushing back again, trying to maintain a neutral spine. The foot stays flat. Breathe to go. Then and breathe out. Then and breathe out. Last one to go. Breathe in and breathe out. Push back and hold that position here for 5 deep breaths. Last 3 to go. Last 2. And last one. Returning back to this position. We're going to stay here. So from here, what we're going to do, we're going to take one elbow up away from the floor. We're going to push this now into the knee. So we're pushing the knee out wide, feeling the stretch inside the hip. Return the knee back into the middle. Reach the elbow down to the floor, and then from here, push the hand into the floor and reach this one up to the seat. So to show you again, that movement as a whole, we start off by pushing the knee out to the side. The foot stays flat on the floor. We feel the stretch into the groin. We bring the knee back into the middle. We reach the elbow down to the floor. Push the other hand into the floor and this hand up to the ceiling. We're going to do another 4 of those. Knee pushed out, back in. Elbow down, and then reach it up. 3 to go. And up. Last 2. Knee pushes out wide, knee back in, elbow down, and hand up. Squeezing those shoulder blades together as we reach out. Last one. Knee out, knee back in, elbow down, and hand up. Place the hand back down to the floor. We're going to bring this knee back. We're going to bring the other foot forward. So remember, we're starting off with the foot and both hands in the same line. Nice and neutral through the spine. Breathe in, forwards with the hips. We're feeling that stretch into the hip flexor and maybe a little bit on the glute on that leg that's forwards. Breathe out, push in with the hands and the foot to push the hips back. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, nice and tall through the spine, and breathe out. 2 to go. Breathe out. Last one. Back to that forward position. So the knee here is over the ankle. Remember, we take the elbow, we push the knee out wide, keeping the foot flat on the floor. Bring the knee back in. Elbow reaches down, and then reaching up to the ceiling. Bring forearm back into the knee, push the knee out wide, feel the stretch into the groin. Reach the elbow down. You can bend this arm here if that helps. And then push into the floor and reach up to the ceiling. 3 to go. Keeping the foot flat when you push the knee out to the side. 2 to go. Push the knee out wide, reach the elbow down, reach the hand up. Last one. Knee pushes out, elbow reaches down, and reaches up. And place the hand back down, bring this knee back. What we're going to do is just bring the weight slightly forward so the hips are hanging over the mat. So we've gone from the hips being over the knees to the hips now forwards. We're going to go up into a push-up position. we're going to bring one knee forwards and slightly across and place that just behind, or just in between, sorry, two hands. From here we're going to drop weight down onto that leg, place the elbows onto the floor and just hold here for 5 deep breaths, feeling the stretch into the glute. Nice and tall through the spine, shoulder blades back and down, breathing in deep. So this should be a nice flowing mobility session, a little bit of a change up from June's session. It was a bit higher intensity with that. See some difficult movements. We're now just taking ourselves gently through some different positions. A little bit more for relaxation rather than really improving mobility. Last of the 5 deep breaths. We're going to place the hands either side, the knees underneath the shoulder, push up. The toes of that back foot tuck underneath. We push back into the push-up position. The other knee goes forwards, cross, we drop that knee down. We untuck the back toes, drop weight off the chest, onto the inside of the thigh, elbows, forearms and hands onto the floor, pull through the spine, shoulder blades back and down, in the stretch, into the breaths. 5 deep breaths. Really just trying to relax into the leg, using the breathing to help achieve this. You shouldn't be fighting and pushing into the floor with this body. Just feeling those muscles relax with each breath out. Last of the 5 deep breaths. And then again, hands underneath the shoulders, pushing up. Toes of the back leg, tuck underneath the foot. Back up into the push-up position, drop the knees down. We're going to bring the knees slightly forward, so the knees are now underneath the hips. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Just tuck my t-shirt in for this next one. Because what we're going to be doing is tucking the toes underneath. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Push the hips up to the ceiling, keeping the knees bent to start off with. Because what we're trying to do is keep a really straight spine. Push the palms into the floor and get the head in between the arms. Knees bent. Breathe in, drop the knees down. Breathe out, push it out. So we're going to go through 5 reps. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. 2 to go. Breathe in and breathe out. Last one, breathe in. Breathe out, hold this position. Now what we're going to look to do is straighten one leg at a time alternatively. So we're going to take a deep breath in, breathe out, push one heel down to the floor. Breathe in, that knee lifts back up. Breathe out, straighten the other leg. So we bend the knee with the breath in, straighten the opposite leg with the breath out. We're going to do 5 on each side. So that's 1. That should be 2. Breathe out as you push the heel down, straighten the knee. Breathe in as you bend the knee. That's 3. Still trying to keep a straight back. That's 4. And that's 5. Drop the knees down, untuck the toes, hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to bring one arm up, so this is in line with the shoulder. Take a deep breath in, breathe out, reach in between this hand and this knee, dropping the shoulder down to the floor, dropping the head to the floor. Breathe in, lifting back up, and breathing out. We're just twisting through this middle part of the spine. Breathe out as we reach. Breathe in, returning back. 2 more to go. And last one. Hand back onto the floor. Reaching up with the other hand in line with the shoulder. Deep breath in. Breathe out, reach between the hands. and the knee, drop the shoulder and the head down. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. That's 3, so we'll see more to go. Breathe in and breathe out. Last one to go. Pushing back up, and that's the last of the spine and hip stretches. What we're going to do now is stretch off the ankles, so toes tucked underneath, and we're going to push the hips back to the heels, so we should be feeling a stretch through the bottom of the toes. Now that might be enough just by going from this position here, pushing the hips back and feeling that stretch underneath the toes. So what I want you to do is just do a couple of that stuff. Breathe in as you go forwards, breathing out, going back. Breathe in and breathe out. And again, breathe in and breathe out. You might find though, what you can do is a bit more of a stretch. So from here, keeping the hands in the same position, start to bring the knees up and then push the knees down. So this one is just a little bit more of an intense stretch of the ankle. If that feels too much, what you can do is just go back to that first position. So hips go forwards, hips go back. If that feels okay, then start to lift the knees and then place the knees down. So we're going to do 5 reps of whichever one you feel more comfortable. Breathe in, breathe out. 2 to go. And last one. Bringing the hips forwards. So what we're going to do here is turn the hands around so the fingertips are now facing to the knees. We're going to go forwards with the hips and now use the hips to put a stretch into the wrist. So go to the point where you start to feel that stretch down the forearms, and all we're going to do is just hold there 5 deep breaths. Two more to go. Make sure you're not overstretching. Go to a point that feels comfortable, but you can still feel the stretch. Last, then release and go forward with the hips. Hands back facing the right way around. We're going to bring hands a little bit closer to the body, and we're going to stretch them in the same part of the wrist, but just going in a different direction. So now the hands are closer, we're going to just go slightly forward with the hips, taking the shoulders past the fingertips. Again, 5 deep breaths. If you're still uncomfortable, just bring hips slightly back. Trying to keep arms flat on the floor. 2 to go. Last one. And this time what we're going to do is place the back of the hands on the floor, fingertips touching the knees. This might already be enough of a stretch, so what you can do is just hold here for 5 seconds. If you want to stretch more, start to bring the hips back and feel that stretch across the top of the wrist. Both of those are too uncomfortable. What you can do is have one palm flat on the floor, the other one, so if I go like this you might be able to see it a bit better, this palm flat, the other one, the back of the hand on the floor, and you can use this hand here to take a little bit of the weight off, and that might be a bit more comfortable. So find the position you feel more comfortable, whether it's the hands, back of the hands flat on the floor, not putting any pressure in. It might be option 2, leaning back, putting that stretch into the wrist, or option 3, just doing one hand at a time. We're going to go for 5 deep breaths. So a bit of a strange stretch. Make sure you're not overstretching here because they are sensitive areas of the body. Last deep breath in after 5, release. We're going to do another set of 5. So if you're going to be changing hand, you can change hand, or if you're just resetting again to stretch both hands, that's fine. And off we go. Stretch to either sink it back, hold in that position, or change the hands. 5 deep breaths. Three to go. Last 2. And last one. release out the stretch. Bring yourself into a seated position. We're going to interlock the fingers and just roll the wrists in a circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now switch that direction. So again, just roll them back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that brings you to the end of today's exercises in this mobility session. So I hope you enjoyed July mobility session. Like I said, that was a little bit of a change up in pace from the June. Instead of it being a high intensity session like June was, a bit more of a flowing, relaxing mobility session. So it is good for a cool down, or it's good for one of those days where you're just looking to have a relaxing mobility session. The June would be more suited for a warm up. So you're seeing two different styles there of mobility that you can work through. Otherwise, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.